don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
Thank you, Rachel.
Maybe on the way out?
The Hollywood machine has finally turned on Rachel Zegler, and industry insiders aren't being subtle about it anymore. What started as whispers has evolved into open declarations that the once promising star has been abandoned by her team. The moment I touched down in LA recently, I could feel the shift in energy surrounding her career trajectory, something that's becoming impossible to ignore in entertainment circles. Sources within the industry claim Zegler's support system is in complete shambles. One publicist reportedly described working with her as unmanageable, while another insider revealed that agents and PR professionals are actively avoiding pitching her for campaigns or events. You don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat. On the way out, the fundamental issue, she's become a liability that nobody wants to manage anymore. Perhaps most concerning is that Zegler appears oblivious to her precarious position. Someone close to a management company explained that while Zegler believes she can power through this rough patch, reality tells a different story. The phone isn't ringing anymore and her team members are exhausted from attempting to salvage her reputation. This isn't just a temporary crisis. It's a gradual implosion happening in real time. Some team members are quietly stepping back, others more abruptly. But the message couldn't be clearer. She's become too challenging to represent effectively. In an industry where image management is everything, strong support systems are essential. When these foundations crumble, careers can collapse with alarming speed. While Zegler still has contracts, roles, and name recognition, those who understand Hollywood's inner workings say the infrastructure around her is disintegrating, leaving her isolated amid the wreckage. The Snow White controversy has only accelerated this downward spiral. When Disney re-released the original animated classic, it performed dismally at the box office. Industry analysts are partially attributing this failure to Zegler's controversial statements about the remake. Though she had no connection to the 1937 film, her widely criticized comments about the original story, the Prince character, and the legacy have made her the face of its commercial failure. The re-release didn't just underperform, it bombed spectacularly. A humiliating outcome for what was once considered an untouchable Disney property. Market observers are describing it as brand drag, with one noting the re-release managed to double humiliate the property. According to box office analysts, the backlash surrounding Zegler's version of Snow White created such negative buzz that even the original couldn't escape the fallout. Longtime fans boycotted. Social media remained flooded with mocking clips of Zegler's interviews and audiences stayed away in droves. Disney's response has been telling. Complete silence. No defense of Zegler. No attempt to redirect the conversation, nothing. This reaction feels calculated rather than confused. Some speculate the studio is letting the situation implode, so they can quietly distance themselves from the actress. This wasn't simply a failed re-release. It was a referendum indicating Rachel Zegler lacks both the audience appeal and goodwill necessary to lead a billion-dollar franchise. The real question isn't whether she's in trouble. It's whether Hollywood has already written her off entirely. Behind the scenes, tensions have reportedly reached a breaking point. The team surrounding Zegler, publicists, managers, and studio liaison are scrambling to address a situation that has spiraled beyond their control, with many apparently wanting no further involvement. Several sources claim her team has fractured, with some pushing for aggressive rebranding, while others have mentally checked out, simply waiting for their contracts to expire. One source connected to a prominent publicity firm described the situation bluntly as dysfunction where no one's on the same page, her messaging lacks consistency, and team members allegedly avoid delivering negative feedback to her. The most glaring issue is the absence of a unified strategy. Her interview persona contradicts her online presence, and her social media silence clashes with her on-camera confidence. Every attempted pivot is undermined when another awkward clip resurfaces or past quote goes viral again. The financial impact is becoming impossible to ignore. Reports claim the Snow White re-release averaged just $50 per theater, less than 4 ticket sales. Industry professionals describe Zegler as a client they must manage around rather than with a devastating assessment in an industry built on cohesive branding. Some representatives have reportedly withdrawn from initial discussions about award shows and media appearances, either to avoid further backlash or because they simply don't know how to position her anymore. What's particularly alarming is how Zegler's reputation is deteriorating within professional circles. From PR handlers to casting directors, a chilling narrative is forming. She's no longer worth the risk. Each interview seems to create new problems. What once read as confidence now comes across as combative. What appeared fresh now seems arrogant. One representative allegedly complained to an industry source that every time we think she's learned from the backlash, she does it again. It's not just her words causing problems but her delivery. The perceived smirk, dismissive tone, and sound bites that go viral for all the wrong reasons. In an era where relatability translates to career currency, Zegler's stock is plummeting. She's transitioning from promising newcomer to someone labeled difficult to work with and worse, difficult to support. The social consequences are becoming increasingly visible. Events where Zegler once dominated red carpets no longer include her on guest lists. Fashion collaborations have dried up. Influencer campaigns have disappeared. Perhaps most telling is the absence of support from her industry peers. There are no social media posts from co-stars, stylists, or Hollywood insiders celebrating her work. Entertainment outlets that previously covered her extensively now maintain distance. Even micro-influencers, film critics, and dedicated fan accounts have noticeably pulled back their support. Viral content featuring Zegler now primarily consists of old clips recontextualized as cautionary tales about celebrity ego and public relations failures. Industry observers suggest this distancing isn't coincidental but strategic. No one wants to be caught in the crossfire of her ongoing backlash. One producer noted that even showing up in a group photo with her right now can spark a headline. In Hollywood, visibility equals power. When you're no longer included, celebrated, or featured, you're effectively removed from the conversation. While Zegler may still have work, she's no longer welcomed in the industry's inner circles. Typically the first sign that replacement is imminent. Disney's silence speaks volumes about Zegler's future with the studio. Despite once being positioned as the face of their Snow White remake, insiders suggest the company is quietly implementing an exit strategy. There have been no major promotional moments featuring Zegler since the initial backlash went viral. The studio that typically defends its talent with full force hasn't offered a single comment as criticism mounted. Not even when the re-release of the original animated film tanked spectacularly. If Zegler still represented a valuable asset for the brand, Disney would be actively managing the narrative. Instead, they've allowed speculation to run rampant. Some industry watchers believe extensive reshoots and edits are being discussed behind closed doors. Others suggest the studio might significantly reduce her role during post-production. There's even talk that Disney is already scouting new faces for future Princess features performers with less controversy and stronger audience connections. While no official recasting announcement has emerged, that's typical of Disney's approach. When the company decides to part ways with talent, they rarely make public statements. They simply stop extending invitations. If Disney has indeed made this decision, the consequences for Zegler extend far beyond a single role. When the industry's most powerful studio withdraws support, careers rarely recover completely. Zegler's online presence has noticeably shifted as well. Her once active Instagram feed has grown increasingly sparse, with posts becoming less frequent and captions more carefully worded. The unfiltered confidence that characterized her early career has been replaced by a curated digital silence that feels more strategic than authentic. Multiple sources suggest Zegler's team advised this social media retreat after months of PR missteps and viral backlash. Each time she posted, critics dissected every word. Supporters struggled to defend her tone, and even neutral observers questioned her judgment. The simplest explanation is that she was too unfiltered and too convinced the public remained in her corner despite mounting evidence to the contrary. However, the digital silence has become its own headline. Without meaningful engagement or transparent attempts to rebuild trust, her occasional polished posts feel like crisis management rather than genuine connection. The longer this controlled silence continues, the more speculation grows about what might be happening behind the scenes. In Hollywood, carefully managed quiet periods rarely read as maturity. They suggest management desperately attempting damage control. Perhaps most telling is the complete absence of public defenders rallying to Zegler's side. During previous controversies throughout her career, directors praised her talent, Co-stars shared supportive messages, and industry colleagues